The NHL playoffs are right around the corner, and I mean days away. There's only a couple games remaining in the season, but none of them have any actual relevancy towards standings, and we now know the official series of every single game, and I figured why not talk about round one of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So we're going to say some stats, we're going to give some opinions, some thoughts on teams, how well I think some series will go, who might win each series. That's exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. So if this is your first time on the channel, my name is John. This is the Sports Advocate. Thank you for tuning in. Give me a like, dislike, some criticism down below. Who is your favorite at this very moment to win the Stanley Cup title? The whole playoffs. Who do you think is your favorite to win it? And as always, subscribe, because not only is it very much appreciated, and every single one of you is noticed and appreciated, but I make content like this daily pretty much, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it if you're a sports fan. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get right into this. The Stanley Cup playoffs, the NHL playoffs, what I would argue is the best playoffs in all of sports, at least American sports for sure. I don't know, hockey for me is such a fun sport to watch, and it's so enjoyable, but we're going to be talking about the series, so let's go into it. We're going to start just top to bottom. I'm going to go through each series individually. We're going to be starting on the East side, go through each series, a couple statistics, a couple players that are important, and all that from each team, compare the two teams, give my assessment of the series, and then move on to the next one. I do have it written down here, and I'm not going to be looking at this a whole lot. We're just going to cover it real quick, and then I'm going to name the teams. Normally I write it on a whiteboard so that you guys cannot see it, but at this moment, I can't, because the whiteboard is being involved in a future video for the NFL draft, and I wrote a lot of stuff on there that's very complicated, and I don't want to erase it because the board is filled right now. But let's go ahead and start. First things first, we have the Hurricanes versus the Bruins. Hurricane statistics, 2.37 goals against per game. Number one in the entire league, a 9.13 save percentage, number 3 in the league, and they're on a 6-win streak. A very, very good team. I think we all kind of know that. Going up against the Bruins, a 2.5 goals against per game. Number 4, 36.1 shots per game, number 2, and a 28.7 shots against per game, number 3. So for the Bruins, not only are they limiting the amount of goals on their team, they're also limiting the amount of shots on their goalies. So whoever goalies in net, even if they have a lower save percentage, when you're having less shots against you, you're going to be able to limit the number of goals. They're also having very, very high numbers in getting shots on the other team's net, and that's very important with the Hurricanes having quite a good goalie set up there. I mean, when you have the number 3rd save percentage in the entire league, you're going to be doing very well. We're going to pick this up. I'm just going to hold it the whole time just so I don't have to bend over and look down. So getting a bunch of shots on the other team when they have such a good goalie is going to be very important for raising the amount of goals that you have for the team. The Bruins, I feel like, are kind of a sleeper this year. I've commented that quite a bit on some of the highlights I've seen on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you should. That's going to be down in the description. Sports Advocate, capital TSA. Sorry if the light's a little bad. It's been raining for the past 4 days, and I've had to bring out the lights again. Normally I try to use sunlight because it looks better, but it's so dark. If I had it off, I would be so fuzzy. But, this series, there's a lot I could talk about, but I think this is a Hurricane series. When you have a great save percentage for the team, your goals against average is very low, and you're doing very well with a 6-game winning streak. Even though the Bruins, I feel like, are a sleeper, I could see the Bruins coming out with this. I'm just going to go with the Hurricanes in this scenario. I'm not going to list the number of games because, as you've seen if you watch my NBA first-round reaction, it's so hard to predict series. But I will take the Hurricanes. I think the Bruins could seal this. If I had to say a game, I will say a number of games for each series, but just know it's unpredictable. I'm going to say six games to the Hurricanes. Next up, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Lightning. For the Maple Leafs, a 3.8 goals per game, number 4 in the league, 11% shooting, number 5 in the league, which means 11% 11% of the time that they shoot the puck, it's going in the net, and a 27.3 power play percentage, number 1 in the entire league. The Lightning, 11.2% shooting, number 3, 2,125 hits, number 4, and 3.48 goals for per game, number 7 in the league. The Maple Leafs, obviously with Austin Matthews, very, very good on offense. They also have a great young star in the Calder race. If you want to go check out that video, I made a video on the Hart Memorial, the Vezina, and the Calder race. All 3 of those, they're all doing quite well, and I think I did a very good job on all of them. Obviously, Austin Matthews is in the Hart Memorial race, and what is their rookie's name? I'm forgetting it right now. Shucks. He's in the Calder race. What's his name? My apologies. I'm forgetting. I'm blanking right now. The NFL draft's going on, and I got so many names in my head for the NFL draft. But Maple Leafs, obviously, very, very good offensively. Now, defensively, maybe not so much. They have a very good power play, again, on the offensive side. Super, super good offensive side. But it's in the playoffs, it's all going to come down to who is the goalie in that. You're probably going to run with your best goalie on every single team in the league unless there's an injury. So you're more worried about they're going to be playing against these top goalies. And for the Lightning, you have a phenomenal goalie in Vasilevsky. So with the 3.48 goals for per game, they're obviously doing very, very good for themselves at number 7 in the league, and the Maple Leafs are number 4. So the scoring ability is quite close here, and I feel like the Lightning might edge it out. And yeah, maybe that's a little bit of the fact that the Maple Leafs always get knocked out in the first round, and some people are fighting against that. But I feel like statistically, when you're looking at the shooting percentage and the goals for per game, yes, there is a difference in the goals for per game, but I think the Lightning have quite a bit of an edge on the goalie aspect of it, and I think they might be able to win this series. I think, again, this might be a close series, but I'm not sure. The Lightning definitely have it in them. They have such a playoff pedigree in them and plenty of talent, plenty of experience. I think that the Lightning can take this, whether that's an upset or not. I don't really think so, but I could see the Lightning taking this. Again, I think this will be a close series. Again, probably 6 or so games. Then we have the Rangers against the Penguins. The Rangers have a 2.44 goals against per game, number 3 in the league. 919 save percentage, number 1 in the entire league. And a 25.2 power play percentage, which is number 4 in the league. Obviously, having a low goals against and a very good save percentage all goes to Igor Shesterkin. Again, with the Vezina, he was a top candidate. I have been very back and forth between him and another goalie. I got a lot of hate for choosing the other goalie at the time. I will say, like I said in that video, I think it's very, very close for me on both of them. I think Igor definitely could win it. I think so could Anderson win it. I agree with all of your points on the comments. There's a lot of comments on there. Some people a little nicer than others, but I agree with the points. I think Igor definitely can win it, but I think Frederik Andersen's also a very good pick. Who do I think will end up winning it? Again, like I said in that video, I think it goes back and forth. I could pick either. Maybe since that video's come out, I think I'd lean more towards Igor. Obviously, I made that video a couple weeks back. I think that's my most popular video on the channel. So it's been a while since I made that video. My ideas have shifted a little bit. But nonetheless, they have a very, very good goalie against the Penguins, who have a 2.54 goals against per game, which is number 5 in the league. Not a big difference on the goals against per game. I don't think the goalies are as great on the Penguins. They're not even close, if we're being honest. The Penguins just do a very good job at, even when there is shots on net, I feel like they do a very good job at kind of making the shots easier to save by making sure they're not clogging the lane, things like that, making their goalie able to see it. They also have a 915 save percentage. Again, that's number 2 in the league, very, very close to the Rangers, who have a 919. And then the Penguins have an 84.4 power kill percentage, which is number 3 in the league. This series is going to be quite close. This series definitely going to come down to the goalies in that. Igor has that edge by quite a bit, even with the Penguins being an underdog for the first time in what was probably a long time, and obviously having plenty of skill with Sid still there. And I'm a Pat McAfee fan, so I'm sorry, Mr. McAfee. I do have the Rangers taking this one mainly because Igor. I think the Penguins definitely steal a game here, but I'm taking this one in 5 to the Rangers, and I think that is a very gutsy call. This is probably going to be a tough, tight series, but I just have this feeling that the Rangers might pull it out in an early one, even though most games will probably be close. Next up, Panthers versus Capitals. Wow, it's raining hard. The Capitals are, I don't have a ton for the Capitals. Statistically speaking, they're not top 10 in many aspects. They just don't have a ton going for them, if I'm being completely honest. Obviously, they have Alex Ovechkin, which phenomenal player. He has ruined many things for my Vegas Golden Knights, but the biggest thing I have for them listed here, they're 25-10-6 in away games, so I think that they could still steal some games in the away arena, in the away barns. They're definitely able to steal some away games, and they can still win these home games. So I think that's a thing that will help them will their way into a closer series. But again, when you're comparing to the Panthers, who I believe are still the number one in the entire league, big difference. 4.1 goals per game. Number one in the league, 37.3 shots per game. Number one in the league, 11% shooting. Number 4 in the league. Now, I will say, someone brought up a pretty good point, which I do quite agree with on one of my videos, if I can find it. I'm not going to list their name. I don't want to do that. They said the Panthers are going to be first or second round exits. Their defense is weak. You can't just keep outscoring your opponents in the playoffs. They're more overrated than the Leafs. Now, obviously, not my opinion. I'm reading this off a comment on one of my videos, my previous NHL Playoffs videos. I agree, but I don't agree. I don't think their defense is terrible. Their offense, obviously, is not going to be able to constantly outscore everybody else all the time. I don't think they're first-round exits, especially going against these Capitals. Capitals are a lot better than I'm giving them credit for, being 100% honest. But nonetheless, I think the Panthers take this series at least. It might be closer than some of us are anticipating. I think this one probably 5 or 6. There has to be a sweep somewhere here, you're thinking. I don't know where. A lot of these series are very good matchups. He also goes on to say he doesn't trust the goaltending on the Panthers. They're okay, but Bob and Knight have nothing on the likes of Vasilevsky. Now, again, they're not playing a goalie at the capabilities of Vasilevsky in this scenario, so I do have the Panthers taking a win over the Capitals. I did not want to list the name of that person commenting in that video. If they go on to see this video, feel free to comment again. I just did not want to put your name out there on blast if people don't like your opinion. I really appreciate everyone that comments. I pretty much respond to every single one of them that I can, and I do genuinely listen to what you guys have to say and try to take your opinions in to matter, because my opinion's not going to be the right opinion all the time. I'm just a person speaking into a mic on YouTube. Come on. Next up, Minnesota Wild versus the St. Louis Blues. This series I like a lot. I think the Wild could honestly be a sleeper. Now, is that some bias because Fleury's on that team now? I'm not sure. I like Kaprizov a lot. They do have a great duo in goaltending with Talbot over there as well. But nonetheless, they have a 3.7 goals per game, number 5 in the league, 11.4 shooting percentage, number 2 in the league, and they're 8-1-1 in the last 10 games. They've been very hot. In the last 10 games, they've been very hot since the Fleury trade. Both Talbot and Fleury have been doing extremely well and entering the playoffs on a very good streak. I think that's very, very good news. Who do they start? Do they start only one, or do they rotate them? I don't know. I'd say Fleury. There is 100% bias there. Talbot's the guy on this team, has been for a long time. So, I don't know. I think you rotate, if anything. They're both very, very good. Ooh, excuse me. Blues have a 3.8 goals per game, number 3 in the league, 12.4 shooting percentage, number 1 in the league, and a 27 power play percentage, number 2 in the league. Blues are extremely good on the offensive side, and I think this is going to be a tough series. It's going to be about this is a terrible quote, about who scores the most. Obviously it is, But it's going to come down to, can the goalie, whomever it is, in the Minnesota Wild prevent the Blues' offensive capabilities? And can Kirill Kaprizov go ahead and get some heat on during the playoffs and go out and score for them? I feel like the Blues' defense is not as great as it may seem. Here, I'm taking the Wild. Definitely not a sweep. Vegas did beat the Blues 7-4 last night. Good on the Vegas. Their first win in the last game of the year ever. Missed the playoffs, though. Very sad about that. I do have the Wild in this series. I think this is going to be not as close as most people expect. I think this is going to be a 5-game series to the Wild. Next up, the Oilers versus the Kings. Oilers, 26 power play percentage, number 3. They're 28-12-1 at home. And they have 2 Hart Memorial race runners right now with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. Obviously very, very good offensively. 2 players over 100 points. Super, super good. Their goalie's going to be an issue. Obviously, we have a 40-year-old over there that has multiple shutouts in a row. Good on him. I don't think he's going to be able to make that sort of run in the playoffs, though. And I don't think any of their other goalies on the team will be able to make a run. And the Kings have a 34.9 shots per game. Yep, number 5 in the league. 28.5 shots against per game, number 2 in the league, and a 52.2 face-off win percentage, number 5 in the league. So the Kings are very, very good at limiting shots for their team and getting shots. That's going to help them a lot in getting goals and preventing goals when you're so much more capable at getting shots up on goalies and limiting those shots. That's going to be a big help. But don't expect to limit the shots on Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. They're going to get shots up. They're going to get shots in. There's plenty of good talent on these lower lines on this team. The Oilers, then people probably like to predict. I really hate Kane, but he has been doing pretty well as of late. This is tough. I almost think this is tough. Who's going to win, Oilers or Kings? I don't want to say Kings, but I don't know if it's the Oilers. Comment down below who you think in this series will win. I'm very close on this one. I will take the Oilers in this scenario. I think their offense will be able to get more shots than the Kings are used to, and that may cause a problem, even though the Kings... I'm taking the Oilers, and I'm taking them in 5. Is one of these series going to be sweep? Is one of these series going to be a 7-game series? I don't know yet. Actually, I disagree. Avalanche versus Predators. 3.7 goals per game. 3.76 goals per game. Number 2 in the league for the Avalanche. 35 shots per game. Number 4 in the league. And a 2.83 goals against per game. Number 10 in the league for the Avalanche. Avalanche are number 1 team in the league. I think they still are. It might be the Panthers at this point. But some people are saying that the Avalanche are overrated and that they're not going to make a run for the Stanley Cup Finals. Some people are saying the Wild are bigger favorites. The Predators are a very, very good team in different aspects. They're not top 10 or top 5 in most huge aspects like goals against, goals per game, all that stuff. They are number 1 in hits, 2,470, and number 5 in face-off wins with 2,495. I think the Colorado Avalanche take this. I think this is... Don't the Predators have Jose? He's in the Vezina race right now. This is a sweep. That's a ballsy take. Sweep, Avalanche, sweep it. And there's probably 2 games in there that are very close. It's a sweep, but there's 1 overtime. There's at least 1 overtime here. Lastly, the Flames versus the Stars. Flames, 237 goals against average, number 2 in the league. 913 save percentage, number 4 in the league, and a 35.5 shots per game, number 3 in the league. Stars, 54.8 face-off percentage, number 2, 2,638 face-off wins, number 2, and a 10-6 overtime record. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. This is a Flames win for me. Flames are better, more capable offensively. The Stars only get like 3 goals per game. They they obviously they can score more than 3 goals per game, but it doesn't happen a whole lot. The Flames are very capable of scoring more than 3 goals per game. They have a very, very capable goalie in net who is also in the Vezina race. He has 9 shutouts on the year. Incredible goalie for them, Markstrom. They have a very good offense. Again, they also have a Hart Memorial Trophy runner right now with Johnny. I think it's Johnny on that team. I'm taking the Flames here. I'm taking them in 5. This one might be a sweep. I'm taking them in 5, though. So now that we've ran through everybody, I'm not going to go on who I think will win the whole thing. I think I gave some decent opinions. Obviously, everyone has an opinion. Everyone has different opinions. You might hate my opinion. You might agree with all my opinions. Go ahead and comment down below what your thoughts are. Now, if you want to be rude about it, if you want to be super kind about it, if you want to have a conversation, I don't care. Go do it however you want to do it. I likely will respond to you no matter what. But nonetheless, please say down below what you think the biggest upset in round 1 will be, if you think there'll be a sweep, and who you think will win the whole thing. I gave some odd opinions in there at times. I gave some pretty confident opinions, some not so confident opinions, and I also gave a couple in there that I thought could go both ways, and I definitely think there are that could easily go both ways in like 6 or 7 games. But with that being said, there's really no point in rambling on too much more. I think I gave a decent opinion, and if you want more of my opinion on the NHL playoffs, I have a video on that, which you might as well go check out because I think it was pretty good. And it seems like you guys liked it a lot because it's my most viewed video on my channel. But nonetheless, if you like this, give me a like. It does help the algorithm a lot. If you don't like it, give me a dislike because it does teach me something about how I can improve. Give me some criticism down below. Obviously, comment the stuff that I mentioned before, who you think will win the Stanley Cup Championship, all that stuff. And as always, go ahead and subscribe because it really does help me a lot. Every single one of you is noticed and appreciated. And I'd really like to start growing on here because the more I grow, the more I can expand and more people will see me. And I'm really putting a lot of effort into this. And I think I can definitely help some other people not only learn about some things, but also kind of broaden their view and all that stuff. So I'd really appreciate a subscribe from any of you, or for you to share my content. It'd be much, much appreciated. But as always, I hope I taught you something today. Hope it made you smile. Hope it made you laugh. That's something that's really important to me, affecting someone else's life in a very good way. And lastly, as always, you guys all be safe out there.